Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Behind the Data Scientist. I'm Fatima Ramos, and today I'm happy to welcome Nacho Rodríguez, who is the lead data scientist at Vodafone Business. He's also an adjunct professor at the IE School of Human Sciences and Technology. Hi, Nacho, welcome.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. I graduated from University of Oviedo in telecommunication engineering. And after some internship experiences, I started working for this small data science consulting boutique called Neometrics. And that gave me the opportunity to start working with some national clients as Visa or Mafre. And then that company was acquired by Accenture. So then the environment changed a little bit, and we had the opportunity to start working for international clients. So I had the opportunity to go to the States to work for E3 Energy, and then spend a year in Montreal working for the National Bank of Canada. So having also that experience on international consulting. And after 5 years doing that, I followed some of my bosses, David Gonzalez and José Luis Flores, into the startup adventure in Dive TV. And there on Dive, we used AI and machine learning applied to image, video, and sound data. And that was a fun experience. And that also gave me the opportunity to go back to the States as director of operations for launching our products there. And 3 years after that, we started in Vodafone Business. I had the opportunity to follow David Gonzalez again into this new project, and we started this new big data and AI global team for Vodafone Business almost 5 years ago now, and that's where I am right now. I'm the global lead data scientist for that team. For that team, we have grown the team from 3-4 people to more than 25 data scientists right now in 5 different locations internationally. And we are focused on both creating new products, new data products for Vodafone, and also helping internally the organization to become a more data-driven organization. So that's what I'm doing right now. Well, Fatima, I didn't, to be honest. I was super ready to get back to Washington, D.C. To follow a completely different career after my internship there. And it was my friend David Gonzalez that told me, look, I think that you may want to take a look at this. There is this opportunity of doing what was called data mining back there, not data science. To be honest, we didn't know about it at all. We have no idea. But he was like, I think you're going to be good at it. I think you're going to like it. And yeah, I was lucky. I trust my friend, so didn't buy that ticket back to Washington and stay here instead. And I think it was the right call, right? Because I still love what I'm doing, and we're still working together. So I think he was right. Well, I mean, being around numbers and technology is always good, right? And I've always been kind of nerdy, and I really like that. But I think that we are in our team, we're really privileged of actually feeling the impact that we're having, even if working for a super international big corporate at Vodafone can be, right? But if you zoom out a little bit, you still can see it. You can see the impact, right? Like you can see some products that didn't exist when we started, and we have created, or we have helped created, and you can see how that creates like new revenue streams, for example, for the company, or how we have helped improve some of those other products, right? And now those products have like AI features that they didn't have, and now those are better products, right? Or how we can change internal processes, and how we can really help the company to be better or faster or more accurate, right? And having the opportunity to really feel that impact, I think it's a privilege, and so that's something that I really like. And of course, as I mentioned before, right, like having the opportunity to work alongside friends, which I've been working with forever, that creates a special environment in which everyone cares about the others, and that's something that I really love about my job. It's kind of hard to choose one, but there are like two different people that came to mind. First one maybe Roberto Alvarez. I think Robert is now the CTO of Prensa Ibérica, but more than 10 years ago, he was my first project manager, and he taught me a lot of different things that I'm using with my team, right? Not only to paying attention to some details, and of course, learning lots of technical stuff from him, because he really knows his way through all the technical details, but also, like those soft skills of building personal relationships at job, and understanding that business is also personal, and the way in which he always did things, like trying to always have a smile there, have a joke, and trying to build a nice environment for everyone to be working on. That's something that I really try to replicate from Roberto. Mm-hmm. And the other one will be David Fierro, my colleague David Fierro. He's the technical lead of Vodafone Business, and the passion that David Fierro has for what he does is incredible. Like you can really see that if you're working in a project with him that he really loves, and that passion, and that being curious, that being loving the technology that he's always surrounded by, combined with that personal touch of Roberto, that's something that I would really like, that people that now works with me can see a little bit of David and Roberto on me. That would be great. I'm honestly not sure if I'm in a position to share some advice to others. I can share though some skills that I think I'm struggling with, and I'm still struggling with them. And I think it's important for us data scientists in general to work on that, which are being humble and being nice to everyone you're around. And let me explain this a little bit. We typically, I think that we tend to be like super excited about our last fancy model that we have just developed, right? And it's great. And I'm using transformers that are super trendy now. And I have found these hyperparameters that I love. And my code is super fast now because I've been working on that extra hours and that. That is great for you. That's great for us. But typically, it doesn't matter that much to anyone else. And typically, what is going to make the difference is that combination of you, of us, that we have the sexiest job in the world right now, but working together with, let's say, less sexiest job, if you want. And that combination, when you work with your CVM colleagues, with your sales colleagues, with your IT colleagues, with your everyone around, that's what's going to make the difference, right? So I think that we need to understand what's actually important, and we need to understand to be humble and to be nice to our colleagues, because it's the only way in which we're gonna make a difference. I think it's difficult to keep up. I think it's really difficult to do our job and then keep up in this industry, which is like continuously coming up with new ideas, technologies, and libraries, and their new products. It's kind of difficult to keep up with all that. And I can't imagine for more junior data scientists, right? Like you are just starting your career and trying to get to know everything, of course. But even as a senior data scientist, it's kind of difficult to do your projects and then keep up with what's happening, right? So I think that's one challenge, and the other maybe storytelling. I really think that we need to get better at telling stories. At the end, especially for those of us that we are applying data science to business, we need to tell a story, right? We are storytellers. And that's typically something in which we don't spend a lot of time while we are learning or studying. In our early days in our careers, we tend to focus more on the technical details. Mm-hmm. And I think it's super important that we get better at telling stories, and so then we can communicate better with the business, right? So those two challenges, I think that we share those everyone that's a data scientist right now are sharing those challenges. Yeah. I think it's, on one hand, it's getting easier in the sense that everyone in the different business areas, they know more and more about data science, data, big data, all these, right? So that, on one hand, that makes things easier, right? But it's funny how things have changed, right? In the sense that many years ago, we have to go to those meetings and try to convince the business colleagues that, okay, we can apply this data technique and I can help you to maybe something as simple as selecting your target for this direct marketing campaign, right? So I'm gonna apply a logistic regression and then we are gonna measure these and these metrics and I can prove to you that this is gonna improve your process, right? And you have to pitch that and you have to insist on that. And now it's the other way around. Like now you can get into the more normal meeting for just building a customer segmentation, and you will find yourself in a position of trying to convince everyone that deep learning is not needed for that. Like, no, okay, we can do this with maybe a simpler technique or something like that, because I mean, it can be tricky now, and nowadays that everyone also know more and more about what we do. So I think those are the challenges, right? And it's more challenging nowadays to select the right technique, convince the business that maybe not the last thing that they have read in a LinkedIn article last week is the one thing that we need to apply in order to achieve our objectives for this specific task, right? So I mean, those business communication challenges have evolved through the years, but they're still there. We tend to keep this position in which we try to be agnostic of technology as much as possible, and the idea is that technology is a tool for us, and that's probably going to change in the next years, and that we try to focus more like on the main concepts behind it and the reasoning why and that. But it's true that for technology and software, it's nice if it's open source, and it's also nice if you have like a large community, well-engaged community online that can keep you fixing bugs or finding some use cases and solving questions and that, right? Well, it's easier said than done, but the idea, at least, is try to be as fast as possible building POCs, building proof of concepts, right? So if we try to be fast at iterating those initial stages and try to understand whether it's feasible. We have the data and the technology that we need. We have the knowledge and the people that we need for doing that. We have the right stakeholders and engagement that we need, and try to be fast at that. So our idea typically is try to build that POC and only then try to build like the case for scale up that project, right? One thing is true that we have learned, and that's very important for us in our approach, is that business has to come first. Like that project has to come from a business need or from a business request, not the other way around. If we build it starting from the more, let's say, data science part, or the technology, or is technology actually the main driver, we have found in our experience that your chances for success are lower, right? So the idea is, are we really solving a business challenge? And if that's true, let's try to iterate as fast as possible for the proof of concept, and then start like looking for the right stakeholders and how to scale up. Those are the two main ideas that we have when we start the project. A data scientist in 2022 is still a data scientist, right? In the sense that you need to know your way around data, you need how to treat your data, how to build your data pipelines, you need to know different techniques and algorithms for applying supervised learning or unsupervised learning. You probably need to know something about neural networks and deep learning too. But what may be a little bit different nowadays is that a modern data scientist is also going to need to know about cloud architectures and public cloud services, right? And you are gonna also need to know something about how to do or how to build data pipelines, right? And how to deploy your models into production. And that production environment is probably going to be cloud-based, right? So I think that nowadays you need to know not just about techniques and algorithms, but also about architecture, about data engineering, about production environments. So it's more like an end-to-end process that you need to know. But if you think about it, that's a super long list of skills, right? That is really difficult for just one person to have.
That's
So
true.
that brings us back to my previous advice, if you want. It's almost impossible for you to know everything about all those things. So typically you will be in a team in which there will be other people that know more about other things that are also needed. So that brings us back to my previous advice, I think, which is what you need to be and what you need to have in 2022 is to be as humble as possible and to be as nice as possible to everyone else working with you. I think those are the main skills.
And well, that's it. I'm gonna close this session now. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for sharing your experience and having and taking the time to chat with us. Hopefully we'll see you soon again.
Yeah, also it was a pleasure. Thank you.